In the year 2000, two men walked into Blockbuster's headquarters in Dallas, Texas. They had a company with no profits, no stores, and less than 1 million subscribers. They asked Blockbuster's CEO for $50 million. Blockbuster said no, not because $50 million was too much, because nobody in that room believed a DVD by mail startup could threaten a 9,000-store empire. 6 years later, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. The startup nobody in that room took seriously, worth over $300 billion today. This is not a story about a bad decision. This is a story about a system designed to succeed that made failure inevitable. Here's what almost nobody talks about. By the time that meeting happened, Blockbuster already knew streaming was coming. They had internal reports, they had consultants, they had data, and they made a calculated decision not to change. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that made perfect sense to everyone in that room, and why that logic destroyed them anyway. To understand the collapse, you first need to understand the empire. At its peak, Blockbuster operated over 9,000 stores across the United States. 9,000. 60 million registered customers. 84,000 employees. In 1994, Viacom bought Blockbuster for $8.4 billion, one of the largest media acquisitions of the decade. At that moment, renting a movie meant going to Blockbuster. There was no alternative, and Blockbuster knew exactly how to make money from this monopoly. The machine was elegant in its simplicity. You rent a movie, you forget to return it, you pay a late fee. $800 million a year came from late fees alone. Not from selling movies, not from subscriptions, from the fact that people forgot to return things on time. That number is important. Remember it. (1997). Reed Hastings starts thinking about a different model. What if you paid a flat monthly fee and never got charged for being late? Netflix launched in 1998 as a DVD by mail service. No late fees. Flat subscription. DVDs delivered to your door. Blockbuster's internal teams tracked them from the beginning. Here's where it gets interesting. The consultants hired by Blockbuster produced reports in 1999 projecting the growth of home delivery and streaming. Those reports were read, discussed, filed, and then Blockbuster did something completely rational. They optimized for the thing that was already making them money. $800 million a year in late fees. Any executive who suggested abandoning that revenue stream was asking the board to voluntarily destroy nearly $1 billion of annual income for a DVD by mail startup that nobody had heard of. This is what makes corporate collapses so fascinating. The decisions that seem insane in hindsight made perfect sense at the time. But here's the number that changes everything. In 2004, 4 years after they left Netflix out of the room, Blockbuster finally eliminated late fees. The announcement was massive. The stock price jumped. Then the financial results came in. Eliminating late fees cost Blockbuster $400 million in the first year. They had spent 6 years protecting a revenue stream that was never sustainable. And when they finally let it go, they had nothing to replace it with. Meanwhile, Netflix had been quietly building something Blockbuster couldn't replicate. Not a better store, a better system. The year 2000 meeting is the moment that defined everything that followed. Reed Hastings and his co-founder Mark Randolph flew to Dallas. They pitched Blockbuster on acquiring Netflix for $50 million. Positioning it as Blockbuster's online division. Blockbuster's CEO at the time, John Antioco, reportedly found the proposal amusing. The meeting was short. What almost no one mentions, Blockbuster actually tried to fight back. In 2004, they hired a new team to build Blockbuster Online, a direct Netflix competitor. By 2005, Blockbuster Online had nearly 3 million subscribers. They were closing the gap. And then, the board fired the CEO who built it. John Antioco had negotiated a compensation package the board considered excessive. The fight over his bonus, reportedly around $30 million, consumed the company's leadership for months. His replacement cut the budget for Blockbuster Online by half. Within 18 months, the momentum was gone. Netflix, meanwhile, had been solving a different problem. Not how do we rent DVDs faster, but how do we make the algorithm know what you want before you do? The recommendation engine, the data infrastructure, the shift from physical to streaming. By 2007, Netflix launched streaming. Blockbuster launched a partnership with TiVo. 2010, Blockbuster files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Total debt, $900 million. At the bankruptcy auction in 2011, Dish Network purchased Blockbuster's remaining assets for $320 million. $320 million. In 1994, Viacom had paid $8.4 billion, the entire value of one of America's most recognizable brands, gone in 17 years. There is one Blockbuster store left on Earth, Bend, Oregon. It operates as a tourist attraction and an Airbnb experience, the last ghost of a $6 billion empire. Here's what this story is actually about. The executives who made these decisions weren't making mistakes by the standards of their time. They failed because they were running a system optimized for the world that existed, not the world that was coming. Point 1. The late fee model created a structural dependency. $800 million a year makes it almost impossible to make decisions that threaten $800 million a year. Point 2. The board's focus on executive compensation destroyed the one serious attempt to compete with Netflix. The internal politics of a company consumed the energy that could have saved it. Point 3. Netflix wasn't just a better rental service. It was a data company from day one. Blockbuster was competing in a race they didn't know they'd entered. That's what this channel is about. Not the bad peoples or employees. Not the scandals, but about the systems that made the outcome inevitable before anyone even realized something was wrong. If you found this useful, subscribe. This channel exists for one reason: to find the moment every collapse starts, before anyone knew it.